Can AI really review my SwiftUI code? Let's find out. So this time when I was building a podcast app using SwiftUI, I thought, what if I let AI take the driver's seat instead of bothering a colleague for a code review? So this video is basically a build log and the results will shock you. I'm going to experiment with an open source AI tool called CodeRabbit that claims to review pull requests like a pro. So we are going to build the home screen of a podcast app together and then put CodeRabbit to test. Watch this video till the end to find out whether using AI is really worth it or not. So let's jump in. So I've already set up a new Xcode project with the name Curious App. That's what we are going to call our podcast app to be. So for building the home screen, we will require 3 sections. The first one is going to be the featured podcast. The second one is going to list the categories of podcast we have. And thirdly, we will have a list of recent episode list. So in order to build it, we will first create a new file, call it as home view. Now inside this home view, we'll create a scroll view, create a VStack. Then I've already created 3 files over here. The first one is the featured podcast card. The second one is the podcast categories view. And third one is the recent episodes view. We'll also give some padding to it, and I'll also give it a navigation title of Listen Now. So for creating the featured podcast card, we are going to have an image, and on top of that image, we are going to have a headline and a subheadline. We will use a ZStack. Within it, I'll have 2 things. First one is going to be an image. I've kept all the image under my assets. So this is the image that I'm going to use, which is called as featured. So I'll put this image and I'll give some properties to it. Okay, this is looking nice. After this, we will have a VStack in which we will put 2 text. Let's give the first text for the simplicity of this particular video. We have just keep it fixed as mind matters. The another subheadline that I'm gonna give to it is new episode out now. I'll also give it some padding and a corner radius of 16 and shadow of radius 5. So our featured podcast card view is ready. Now let's move on to the next section, that is podcast category view. Inside it, we are going to have multiple categories. So let's create a structure for it and call it category. The first thing inside it is going to be an ID, which is going to be equal to UUID. The second one is going to be the title of type string. We will assign a system image to each of the category we will create, and again it is going to be of type string. Now let's create an array of categories and call it categories. This will be an array and each array value is going to be of type category. So it's now time to display them. For this, I'm going to use a scroll view again, and I'm going to give the scrolling as horizontal. I do not want to show the indicators, so I'll keep it as false. Then inside a HStack, first let's create a for each loop in which we will pass our categories array. Then it will pick each of the category inside this categories array one by one, which we are going to show in a HStack. Then there will be an image. This image is going to be a system image, so I will specify the each category's system image to it. Then after that image, we will have a text. This text will be the category's title. You can see all the categories are created, but we also need to give it some more features so that it looks better. I have given it some padding from vertical and horizontal. I've given a background. I've also clipped its shape to capsule, and I've also given it some shadow. Okay, let's see how our home view is looking now. Yeah, so we have a featured podcast card, and then we have certain categories that the user can choose from. Let's move on to the last thing, that is the recent episodes view. Here we will have multiple episodes. So again, we will create a struct for it and call it episode. We'll specify as identifiable. The first thing is going to be the ID, a unique ID to each of the episode. And we will assign a duration which will be of type string, and we'll also give it an artwork, an image that we are going to attach to each of the episode. This again is going to be the string. Let's create an array of episodes. Okay, I forgot to give the title here. Let's give the title also as string. And then I'll create a VStack. I'll first create a text which will show recent episodes. Then we will loop through all the episodes that we have. So we will use a for each, loop through the episodes array. Then we will pick each episode in here and display it. Now for displaying it, I have already created a new file and call it recent episode row. Let me show you that first. So this is the file that we have. So this recent episode row has a H stack in which we have an image and a V stack which will have two text. Then we have a play button again that I have already created over here. So I'm going to directly use my recent episode row and I'm gonna pass each episode over here and again give some horizontal padding. Okay, so now this is done. You can see we have a title as recent episodes and each episode has a title and a duration with a play button in front of it. Okay, so overall our home view is ready. Now it's time to push all of this code to GitHub and see the magic of CodeRabbit. So here we are. You can see we can compare and make a pull request. But before that, we need to attach CodeRabbit to this particular repository. For using it, I'll have to click on this get free trial. Let me sign up with GitHub. Okay, so let me click on add repository. I can select the repository I want. I have named it as Curious App. Let's save this one. Okay, so Curious App is present. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on compare and pull request and see what happens. And we'll also check how much time CodeRabbit actually takes to give the overall review of our code. Okay, I'm clicking on this create pull request. We can see that CodeRabbit waiting for status to be reported, review in progress. And I've started my timer. Okay, it took about 3 minutes to review my overall code. Not that bad, but not that good either. However, it's still less from what time we could expect from a manual code review. So let's see what all CodeRabbit gave to us. The first one is the summary of the changes that we have made. For example, it told us that we have introduced a new home view. We also have a featured podcast card. Then we create a horizontal scrollable list of podcast categories and so on and so forth. Then it gave us a walkthrough of the changes that we have made. In each of the file, what was something that we did, the change summary, so everything it gave in detail. Also, it gave us a sequence diagram of all the changes. Okay, so this is really cool. Now let's look at some of the best feedback we received from CodeRabbit. So the first feedback which I personally like that CodeRabbit suggested is a very fundamental improvement, and that is while we were creating the podcast category view, if you remember, we created these categories wherein we hard-coded all the category values. So CodeRabbit is suggesting that consider making categories a parameter instead of hard-coded, which is a good practice because when you want to use this particular view elsewhere as well with say different categories, you will have to create a separate view altogether and it hampers reusability. So a better approach is to use this particular code that it has suggested wherein it is using dependency injection. In case our categories is defined, then it is taking that value. Otherwise, the fallback value are the ones that we had created earlier. And one of the best part of using this approach is we can it will help us in writing better test cases, and also it improves reusability. So CodeRabbit also gives you the code which you can directly resolve from here. So that's a good part. Now let's move on to the second feedback that it gave regarding our episode model that we created. So it is saying that consider moving episode model to a separate file. Why? Let's read out. So it is saying that the episode model is defined here but is also used in recent episode row. Consider moving it to a separate file to avoid duplication if you need to modify it in future. So this is a future requirement that it is taken into consideration now itself, that in future if you want to use this particular episode model across different files, so it's a better approach to create a separate file and put it there. But for our purpose right now it is not immediately required. Similarly, the suggestion that it gave earlier as well for categories to use dependency injection, the similar one it is giving now as well, wherein it is saying that we should use dependency injection rather than hard coding all the episode values. Even though CodeRabbit gave all the good suggestions, there was one thing that I did deliberately which it was not able to identify, and that was in this particular file that I created, recent episode row, I kept the struct name different from the file name, which it should flag ideally, because this is something that is required to keep the code clean. So I think this is something that it should have flagged, but it did not. But there is one thing that I personally like about CodeRabbit, and I think this is what makes it unique as well, is how it learns from the feedback we give to it, and we can give the feedback to various aspects of the code that we have written. Then basis that, it auto-tunes its code reviews in the future. So if we scroll to the tips part here, we can see that there are 3 ways to chat with CodeRabbit. So we can simply chat with CodeRabbit, ask it any question related to the comment that it has given, or we can also ask it to further review a code that we feel like. So the first way is to directly reply to a review comment made by CodeRabbit. The second one is we can tag CodeRabbit in a new review comment at the desired location with the query that we have. So in our case, we should use this particular method wherein we will tag CodeRabbit AI and write something like, shouldn't this be flagged? The file name and the struct name does not match. So we can write this by going to the Files Change tab and then to the particular line wherein we have defined the struct name. We can simply write this particular comment, and then CodeRabbit will take that into consideration. So the more we use it, the more CodeRabbit becomes better. Also, there is another way to do it. So if you go to the documentation, here it is written that we can add custom code review instruction for the entire project or specific file path in our project. So we can define some rules that CodeRabbit must follow while reviewing a particular file or the entire project that we have created. So in our case, we can ask CodeRabbit to consider Apple's documentation, SwiftUI documentation into consideration. So for that, we simply have to add a .yml file to the root of our repository that we are using. And then we can create this file wherein we can give the path instruction. That is, for this particular path, we want you to follow this particular instruction. For example, the path in our case would be curiousapp/star.swift, because we want it to review all the Swift files. Then in the instruction, we can write something like, while reviewing this code, consider the Apple's SwiftUI documentation and also give the link of the SwiftUI documentation that we have. Though I tracked all the possible improvements and issues, this was quite simple to track. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to introduce patterns that typically require human attention. I'm going to introduce some of the basic errors that we make in our SwiftUI code and see whether CodeRabbit is able to track them or not. This will test the limit of CodeRabbit review and will help me decide whether to use it in my daily workflow or not. Okay, so let's give it a try. I am going to make this system image as optional, and while unwrapping it, I will use force unwrap. So I have used it here. I'll use an exclamation mark. So my expectation from CodeRabbit is it should suggest me to use either iflet or optional binding or nil coalescing. So let's see whether it is able to do that or not. Let me quickly push this code to GitHub and raise a pull request. Okay, so this time it was able to review my code pretty quickly within 1 minute. Now let's see whether it has caught the error or not. So it has flagged this as a potential issue wherein it is saying that avoid using force unwrap on optional values. This is very impressive. It is also giving us the reason why we should not use force unwrap, and along with that is giving us a safer approach as well, wherein it is saying that instead of using force unwrapping, we should rather use nil coalescing, wherein we are giving a fallback value as !.circle if in case this category.system image is not available. Along with that, it has also given me a suggestion or use optional chaining with a default value, and this is the example. But the example is correct, but this is not called optional chaining. This is rather called optional binding using iflet. So we can talk back to CodeRabbit and tell it that this is incorrect. So what we can simply do is leave a comment saying that this suggestion is helpful, but the terminology is incorrect. This is optional binding, not optional chaining. Do update this terminology in future reviews. So let's put a comment and see. So you can see CodeRabbit has replied to us saying that thank you for the correction, you're absolutely right. The iflet approach I suggested is optional binding, not optional chaining. I appreciate you pointing out this terminology error. So I'll make sure to use the correct Swift terminology in future reviews. So this is really cool. and it has also added this as a learning. So yeah, this is how you can also make CodeRabbit learn along the way if there is something that you feel like it has not flagged. Let's try one last thing, and that is complex view nesting, and let's see whether CodeRabbit is able to give me proper suggestions for it or not. So I'll create the home view deeply nested in VStack, ZStack and HStack, and let's see if what CodeRabbit suggests. So I'm going to remove this and use this. The view is not going to change. I've just deeply nested it. Let's push this code to GitHub and create a pull request and see what CodeRabbit suggests. So it took less than 2 minutes to review our code. Let's see what it suggested. Okay, so this is surprising. It's saying that you can simplify the nested view hierarchy. I was just trying to trick CodeRabbit and see whether it is able to pick this particular thing or not. So it is suggesting that the current implementation introduced unnecessary nesting that doesn't appear to serve a functional purpose. And it has also given me an alternate code that I should write instead of the one that I had written already. Though it is not as per my expectations, but it found the issue, so that is enough. Honestly, I did not expect CodeRabbit to be this efficient. It initially caught up the things that I would have cleaned up in my code weeks later. But the game changer was the issues that I planted myself. I expected CodeRabbit would fail on those checks, but to my surprise, it passed with flying colors. So if you're building SwiftUI interfaces, especially in a small team or alone, then using CodeRabbit would be a good idea, as it helps in saving time, it improves consistency, and it also encourages you to build better coding habits. It is not really replacing human reviewers, but it's like having a reviewer that is always available. So next time you push to the main, let the rabbit hop in first. You might learn something new. See you in the next one.